Hello, my name is Paul Collins, and I've been invited here today to do a little known Black history fact. My little known Black history fact revolves around the thrilling tale of Robert Smalls and how he seized a Confederate warship and sailed it to freedom. Robert Smalls was a slave. He was married and he had a wife, two children. And his biggest fear was that his family would be separated and sold. And often when your family was separated and sold during slavery, you did not see them ever again. That stayed on his mind constantly. He tried to come up with ways of how he could keep his family together. The only thing that he could come up with, escape. He had to escape slavery. How could he do that? Very difficult for just one individual to escape the slave patrols, much less an entire family. At any point in time, the small child's cries could alert the slave patrols. And if they were caught, they faced a whipping, shackling, being sold, or even killed. So he had to be very smart about this. Escape was what was needed, and escape is what he would do. He had been pressed into service for the Confederacy aboard a warship called the Planter. For nearly a year, he quietly observed the movements of the ship and its crew. He learned all the intricate details of everything they did. And so by doing, he devised a plan to commandeer the Planter and deliver it to the imposing fleet of the Union ships anchored outside of Charleston Harbor and gain his and his family's freedom. So he planned this with the other slave crew members. Just before dawn of May 13, 1862, Smalls took his chance. While the ship's officers slept ashore, he and his fellow slave crewmen pulled anchor and eased the Planter into the Charleston Harbor. They had already prearranged to meet their family members a few miles away near the shore. Together, they embarked on an extremely dangerous journey. Smalls had to navigate the ship past 4 Confederate checkpoints: Castle Pinckney, Fort Ripley, Fort Johnson, and Fort Sumter. He was very smart. Donning a captain's coat, Smalls heroically steered the ships through the dark waters, avoiding suspicion by correctly signaling at the heavily armed Confederate lookouts, as he had seen others do many times before in his year of service. Even once safely through the harbor, Smalls and company faced yet another big risk. Approaching a Union stockade, which would have to assume the Confederate steamer was hostile. So unless Smalls could quickly convince the Union crew that his party's intentions were friendly, the Union ship would take defensive action and open fire, likely destroying the Planter and killing everyone on board. Smalls had planned for that. He and the crew hastily lowered the ship's Confederate flag once they were past the Confederate stronghold, and they raised a white flag, a white sheet, to serve as their flag and to show the Union that they were not hostile and had no hostile intentions. Despite all the odds, Small and his bands made it safely to the Union lines and delivered a Confederate warship to them. As the crew managed the vessel, those on board the Planter realized they had actually made it. Some of them began jumping and dancing and shouting as an impromptu celebration, while others turned toward Fort Sumter and cursed it. All 16 were free from slavery for the first time in their lives. Robert Smalls went on to serve with the Union during the war, and beginning in 1868 in the South Carolina House of Representatives, served until 1875, which at that point, he started serving in the U.S. House of Representatives. So from slave to congressman, what determination can deliver? Again, my name is Paul Collins, and I thank you for giving me this time to express this little known Black history fact. Thank you.